Developed by SmileBig, Gunvalkyrie was released in 2002, the same year as Panzer Dragoon Orta and Jet Set Radio Future. This is another one of the cool Sega titles released on the Xbox. Actually, Gunvalkyrie was originally supposed to be for the Sega Dreamcast with the vision of a light gun and controller style, which would have been pretty interesting, but it all got shut down once it shifted development to the Xbox. Earlier information about the game said that it was supposed to have multiplayer and online co-op. The game also had this art style called Anime Dimension, which I can't say is something that was altered before or after they shifted to Xbox development, or is what we got here anyway, but it seems more punky than anything. I don't know anyone that followed development of this game when it came out at the time, but I bet if anyone did, it may have been disappointed when it first came out, because a lot of those features never showed up in the final product. But we can still look back on it, as it's still a pretty neat game to go back to. You play as two characters in this game, Kelly Olemi and Saburota Mishima. Members of Gunvalkyrie, they are two of a couple people named Haley's Chosen, which are those affected by Haley cores left from Haley's comet. This grants them superhuman abilities, and these are the only people that can be a part of Gunvalkyrie located all over the world. Gunvalkyrie is an organization formed to protect Hebel technology by the Axis of Europe and Dr. Hebel Gate, a revolutionary scientist. But Dr. Hebel has been missing for 4 years. Prior to his disappearance, he was interested in experimenting on the colonists of Tir Nanal, which have suddenly lost contact with the Axis of Europe. So the game has you investigating this land to find his whereabouts. You are commanded by Meridian Poe, who looks like some Shodan type shit, but her story's pretty fucked up. She's Dr. Hebel's only daughter, but he surgically removed her head and disappeared with her body, but she's kept alive on life support systems. I could go a lot more into the background of the game, but a lot of it would be stuff that I read off of the manual, because they don't really explain it in the game. There are some reports and documents you can read from Poe, but most of them have to do with the search for Hebel. If you end up getting this game, just make sure it comes with the manual. If not, it's fine, because you won't really be needing it on what is primarily an arcade game. Overall, the story is just kind of there, and the characters are pretty basic, but the latter parts of the game are pretty wild. This game is all about great mobility, and once you get the controls down, it's smooth as hell. Quick turning, boost dashing, and firing at enemies keeps you busy all on the controller. I suggest looking at the start screen when you boot it up to get a feel for how the game wants you to play like. Gunvalkyrie Irving has 3 weapons all tied to the face buttons. A normal blaster, a drive gun which is a light machine gun. This gun stops you on the ground and in the air, and it has a crazy spread. The feel of this gun is just great. And a hook gun, which can affect enemies when upgraded enough, but will likely be your least used weapon. Pressing down on both thumbsticks does a GV napalm, which is a panic clearing attack and can be used for meteor crashing, which is an air attack that runs to enemies and can be used as a way to boost up and down. Your regular jumping and boost jumping is done with the left trigger, and dashing is done with the left thumbstick. You can keep it going, but it drains power, so you want to actually click the stick instead of holding it down to keep yourself in air and perform combos. Yeah, there are combos in this game, but they're not like hit combos, but they're dash combos. These are only in air, and doing more combos fills your power gauge and makes your weapon stronger. A good technique to build combos is box strafing. Your combo meter gets depleted once you land, get hit, or start hovering. Now, hovering is done when you dash in one direction and move the stick in the other direction. It helps for landing on tight platforms. Once you hit 25, you'll reach Mobius, making you invincible for a small amount of time. But that's pretty much your only way of strafing in this game, because moving left and right simply just rotates you. There is an auto lock on, and if you're familiar with other console shooters, then you'll be right at home with this. Your right stick looks up and down, though the movement is inverted and you cannot change that. You can also click left, right, and back for sharp turns, which is a really great function. Use it with the boost dashing and you're zipping around areas like mad. Now, Kelly is described as beginner friendly and Saburota is advanced, but he's just different. Kelly is more about her movement and fast attacks, while Sab is slower and stronger. Saburota also does not have a drive gun. His napalm and meteor crash uses a sword, and that's pretty cool. I highly recommend to play through the whole game only as Kelly, since some levels you can only play as Kelly, plus you can learn the game better with her. Kelly is also the only one that upgrades her suit to the point where she's actually stronger than Saburota. You unlock challenge modes after beating the game where you can actually play through all levels as Saburota, so I recommend playing him there. You go through the game killing mostly insect monsters, so if you're a fan of Earth Defense Force, you may like this as well. The setup to each level is actually similar to Otogi, where you can look at the types of enemies you'll face, but they tend to leave out some types a couple times. They also feature tips for the map you're going to be playing on, which I highly advise looking at, especially for levels like the Naglfar pits. Level to level, it's a mostly linear progression. At some points you can do 3 different levels in any order, but you can't skip any of them to go to the next chapter. There are fewer than 20 levels in this game, and a couple of them are pretty much reused. All the Naglfar pit levels are the same, and so are 2 of the civilian bases as well. Though some of them do look nice and they have really great music. A couple levels like the Naglfar pits do help you learn platforming, but most of them are just eliminating enemies and don't switch up that much from that. I wish they did it where you would get locked into an area and kill all enemies to leave that area, because the way they do it here just finds yourselves trying to scan each part of the map map and it just slows the game down. But at least the game offers a caution radar, because without that the game would be a lot more tedious. But I trust this being only a problem for the first playthrough. I also wish there was like a time trial race or something to get from point to point to test your boost dashing skills. There are also cores you can collect through the game, one per level. I'll give you a tip on one of them in Gunvalkyrie Pit 1. Collecting all these by the last level lets you unlock the third level of the gear skin, in which you evolve. This gives Kelly the ability to practically fly. Her meteor crash can go on for as long as she lands or runs out of fuel. I would say it takes away the difficulty of the game, but it's only just for the later portions and can be used optionally in challenge mode. Overall, I like Gunvalkyrie, especially how it controls, and I think it's worth your time, but it certainly is not a perfect game, as it seems to not have much going for it in original levels, and some objectives can be very bad. But it's also a pretty short game and makes for nice multiple playthroughs and speedruns, and I expect anyone to get at least under 9 hours at least for the first time. Also, the boss battles are actually really fucking cool. I started replaying it the day I beat it, and I did that all in one day, and I've seen other playthroughs of it that go up to 2 hours. Gunvalkyrie seemed to have been a flop game. There isn't much merch or nods to the game that I know of, and I don't know how much it actually did sales wise, but I know the game had pretty good reception, with the main drawback being its difficulty, which is a shame because just a learning curve, anyone can get through it by just keep playing. Gunvalkyrie has a great aesthetic, a cool OST, I recommend listening to that, and unique gameplay. It's a shame it never got a sequel to expand and improve the levels, gameplay, and finish the story, because the plot here actually does not get fully resolved, and it's just annoyingly open. I thought there was pretty much supposed to be more, and that it may have been planned for a sequel or just cut from development. Now, if it did get a sequel, could the light gun control still work today if Gunvalkyrie was made? Looking at Nintendo Switch titles like Splatoon 2, maybe it could, but that game has fast gunplay and motion control similar to light gun, which is more close to Gunvalkyrie's vision. Maybe it could work on the Switch. I don't know.
I don't have the answers to these questions.
I mean, maybe one day Sega may tap back into this.
Someday, we will understand. And we will find the answer.